right, hello internet friends, sit back, relax. I am Ryan. I am a commercial and studio player, and this is my studio, and this is Demos in the Dark. Tonight we are going to be checking out something new from Fairfield Circuitry. It's called the 20% More. It is a Slew limiting distortion. Now there's a technical description for what slew limiting is. It's all in the manual, and I don't understand a word of it. In fact, you know, like there are a couple of different kinds of pedal nerds in the world. There are the ones that really want to understand how something works, and then the other ones who are just like, shut up, I just want to turn knobs and make sounds. I happen to be the shut up, let's just turn some knobs and make some sounds kind of guy. So I will probably use some words in this video that I don't know what they mean. But it is a gnarly distortion. It has this great gate to it. It has an octave up, an octave down. It has a full wave rectifier. It has all kinds of just really, really cool stuff that you can make just amazing distorted sounds with. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to run it down on a mix. I'm going to use it on bass. I'm going to use it on guitar. I'm going to use it on synth that I'm going to reamp through there. And then come on back here and we will get some sounds out of the 20% more all by its lonesome. Thanks for sticking around. If you, like me, are a gear nerd who spends way too much time in your dark studio rather than being outside with normal human beings, then this is the place for you. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Don't be a stranger. All right, so we're going to start out with guitar. I have a McGinney Guitars Skylark here. I am plugged into a Silktone amp. Silktone amp sounds like this. So I think the first thing I want to do here is just like turn it on, and then we'll talk a little bit about how it works. All right. That sounds great. The first thing we got here is we have a volume control. We're going to leave that. We have a blend control. We've been at about 50%. You can go up. And we can go down with it. just want to say, usually I'm not a huge fan of blend controls on distortion pedals. For guitar, I think it's great for bass and it's great for synth and stuff like that. But I have found this blend to be incredibly useful for guitar as well in this particular application, and I'm really glad that it's there. So next we have the input, which is your gain. So we've been running about there. Let's crank it up. So there you hear it's getting a little bit more gated. One thing that I found really useful, like this thing does a lot of gnarly sounds, but I wanted kind of a dirty rhythm track. And if you bring the bring this back a little bit and you bring the blend back. And if you want that less gated, so I use that sound there on the track quite a bit, but let's kick this all back up again. And this is where things start to get really, really interesting. So we have a low pass gate here, and basically some sounds can get kind of clicky, and you can use this to get rid of that. So now we're going to skip over the feedback. We're going to go straight to the slew, and this is the slew limiter frequency. All right, now we'll go over to the feedback. The feedback is the feedback of the slew limiter. So if we start low. So now that we've gone through the knobs, we're going to move on to the toggle switches, which are equally, if not more important than the knobs. So first thing we have here is we have an envelope follower, and we can decide where we want to feed that. Up until now, we've been feeding it into nothing. So we can feed it into the low pass gate. And at that point, it kind of acts a little bit like like a side chain where like the harder you play, you're going to get more high end. So let's do that. All right, so you saw there, we got more bang for our buck on that when we brought the input down a little bit. All of these controls are super, super interactive. All right, so next we're gonna switch it over to the feedback. So the envelope follower is feeding the feedback. In this, like a lot of the feedback is just generally lower, and you're kind of bringing it out with your guitar. The harder you play, the more that is gonna come out. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the octave. This is the upper octave. And then we have the lower octave. So we can go down 1 or 2. We start with 1. All right, so and what you do now is you take all of those factors and you mix and match them and come up with really gross and weird and beautiful sounds. And that is kind of the gist of this pedal. You'll notice there that when I was down in the lower octave or in any of the octaves, I would make adjustments up here and that would smooth things out. Like I said, all of these controls are extremely interactive. It's not one of those things where you can just kind of set it and forget it. Like you need to spend some time working with it. But, you know, from my personal perspective, you don't have to think about it too much. You can just, you know, turn knobs until it sounds cool, and it will almost always sound cool. So thank you, Fairfield, for sending this over for me to check out. And as always, thank you for the privilege of your time.